I'm Dr. Charles Moak, and I want to talk to you about Nutrition 101. There's a whole host of things you can learn about nutrition. You can have a whole degree on it, or a master's degree, or a PhD, but we're going to talk about some basics of nutrition and things that a lot of people are grossly misinformed on or have completely the wrong idea of what represents a healthy diet and nutrition. When we're talking about nutrition, we're talking about basically what are we eating? What are we putting in our mouths? You are what you eat. Is that true? Of course it is. We know that certain foods are inflammatory, so they lead to premature aging and premature disease. These are diseases of aging that we are exposed to inflammation and we get more of it. Cancer, clearly linked to your diet. So I'm going to talk about what foods help you lose weight, be healthy, reduce your risk of cancer in general, reduce your risk of heart disease and other chronic illnesses. So first let's talk about some principles of eating. You know, we have processed foods, which is where the manufacturer's taking foods that are very rich in energy and turn into a bar or a stick or a chip so we can consume it. And our bodies are programmed to digest and want to digest foods that are very unhealthy. You know, we're programmed to try to sort of go after salt and go after fats and go after simple sugars. And the foods that are very healthy for us tend not to taste so appealing to our taste buds because we've trained ourselves to eat a lot of sugar and a lot of fats. So let's say a bowl of broccoli might not taste as appealing as a bowl of potato chips, but obviously we're supposed to eat more broccoli and less potato chips. When you process foods, a few things happen. First off, they're taking the most energy-dense portions of the agriculture or the farming industry, and they turn it into something that's easy to be portable, something you can put in a box and take with you, something you eat on the road, and something that tastes very good. So let's imagine we take a very simple processed versus non-processed food. Let's imagine an orange. So you buy an orange and it's got a skin on it and you peel the skin off. That takes some calories and work to do that. And it's got some little fiber pieces on the outside. And you chew it. You're taking some energy to chew it. And then your body's got to digest the pulp and absorb the orange. Okay, and oranges are loaded with sugar. But that sugar rise comes relatively slow compared to orange juice, which has been processed. The orange juice, they've taken the pulp out of it generally. It's a pure sugar, and you drink it, and you get that instant sugar rise. When you get the instant sugar rise, your body activates insulin and starts storing that as fat unless you're currently exercising or something like that. So eating an orange, I'm not recommending you eat oranges, but I'm saying if you eat an orange, you will get less sugar spike and less health detriment than eating orange juice. Take it a step further. Imagine you eat a piece of bread. You chew the bread, it's been enriched. They take the flour and beat it so that you can digest it easy, and you get an instant spike in your blood sugar. In fact, something called the glycemic index, which we measure the sugarness of foods, is based on glucose being 100. Whereas a vegetable, you've got to chew it, and your body has a slow time digesting it. Digest it over maybe minutes to hours, and you don't get the rise in sugar. Even if you have the same amount of, say, carbohydrates in vegetables as bread, you don't get a sugar spike from vegetables like you do with bread. You don't get it from legumes either. And we can talk about that later. So there's something called thermogenic properties of foods, and the thermogenic properties of foods mean, do the foods require calories to be metabolized? In other words, to get the food in your body, do you burn calories? The answer is yes, certain foods. Oils, you do not. Sugars, you do not. Most refined foods, you do not. Most processed foods, you do not. Meats, generally not. But vegetable proteins, you do. So if you eat vegetables, it actually burns a lot of calories to consume. So if you eat 100 calories of, say, some vegetable mix, you might burn about 20 calories digesting them. There are no foods that burn more calories digesting than eating. Some people think that foods like celery or mushrooms, because they have such a low calorie content and hard to digest, they actually have a negative calorie balance. They really don't. They're probably about zero. Okay, so thermogenic properties of foods, whole foods versus processed foods. Let's go over the whole protein issue. I hear all the time, well, I'm trying to lose weight, so I'm eating protein shakes, or I'm adding protein to my diet, or eating a bunch of protein, as if you could eat more and lose weight. This is nonsense, okay? The average female who has moderate activity needs about 45 grams of protein a day, and the average male needs about 55 grams of protein a day. Now, if a man is trying to build muscle or a woman's trying to build muscle, they're very active, you can maybe about double that, okay, but not triple or quadruple it. So do we really need these proteins added to our shakes and proteins added to food and proteins added to, eating extra chicken? So first I want to dispel the idea that you need a bunch of protein. When you eat more protein than your body will store as muscle and use for normal activities, you simply store it as fat. Okay, your body has the ability to turn nutrients into different nutrients. So eating extra protein is potentially just going to make you fat, especially if you eat protein powder. Okay, protein powder is one of the very big misleading pieces of information that people have. If you're malnourished, you're in a nursing home, or you're starving yourself and you're working out and trying to gain muscle, maybe protein powder will help in certain settings. It'll help, yeah, because you need the protein. However, if you're getting 45 or 55 grams of protein a day, adding protein does not cause you to build muscle and does not cause you to lose weight. It actually causes you to gain weight. In addition to that, when we eat a lot of animal protein, we do boost our metabolism up, which sounds good, but it's not, because boosting up your metabolism to account for the extra calories increases or accelerates aging. Okay, and who wants to age faster? It's nonsense. So imagine this: if you want to age faster and you want to grow, protein, high protein diet, protein powder. If you don't want to age faster and you're not trying to grow, then you don't need a lot of protein. Okay, so you gotta get that out of your head that you need to add protein powder or protein snacks. The biggest thing I see that bothers me is I see people at the gym and they're working out, maybe burning 200, 300 calories, and then they're eating a 500 calorie protein shake. That's nonsense, okay? It did them no benefit, and it basically set them back a little bit. So let's talk about foods. I keep hearing that, I'm talking to patients that are trying to lose weight, where I'm eating a bunch of chicken. A bunch of chicken's not gonna make you lose weight, okay? Certainly eating chicken over a hamburger is better, but chicken's not gonna make you lose weight. So let's look at foods. Now I have some foods here on the table. Protein powder, this is one scoop. One serving actually is 3 scoops of this particular brand. This is a half pound of ground beef, which you might see on a burger. And this is 6 ounces of chicken breast with the skin on it. And then we have spinach, kale, collards, and broccoli. Now, you might say, well, I need to eat these meats to get enough protein. I need all this protein. I made a little spreadsheet out. This is my cheat sheet, but here's the real answer, okay? So for kale, right here, we would need to eat 5 servings of kale to equal the calories in a piece of chicken. And that would give us 14 grams of protein. This has about 25 grams. We would need to eat 23 servings of kale in order to eat this beef, to have the same amount. And if we ate 23 servings of kale, we'd have 67 grams of, and the beef itself has 32 grams of protein in it. So if we ate the same number of calories of kale that would constitute the beef, we'd actually be getting twice as much protein, okay? And obviously you'd be very full eating, 23 servings of this. Spinach, this is an 8-cup serving here. Okay, so to eat the equivalent calories in spinach as chicken breast, we would need 23 servings. So this here is 8 servings, so we'd need 3 bowls the size of spinach, and we get the same calories as in a piece of chicken. However, we'd get the same amount of protein, the exact same amount of protein. How much spinach we have to eat to match up to the amount of beef? We need 107 servings, 107 1-cup servings. I can't imagine eating that much, but you'd have 100 grams of protein, more than you need in a day, double what you need in a day. So that we can dispel the idea that you have to eat meat to get enough protein. Broccoli. You'd need 4 servings of broccoli to equal the calories in chicken, and you'd have 13 grams of protein. Or you'd need 15 servings of broccoli to match the meat, and you'd have twice the protein as meat. Okay, and the reason that you have so much more protein than the beef than chicken is because beef has a lot of fat in it. So when we're looking at calories, fat consumes many more calories than protein does. Collard greens, same thing. We need 68 servings of collard greens to match the calories in the beef, and we would have 74 grams of protein, more than enough protein for the day. For kale, we would need, I think I already did kale. The protein powder, but it's the same token. The protein powder is more or less 3 of these would be equivalent to chicken, but be substantially more calories. So get the idea of your head that you need to have all this meat to get the protein. And we have to accept the fact that even though we believe it, it's not true. So for a gram of, you read the side of the container, it says a gram of fat. 1 gram of fat equals 9 calories. 1 gram of protein equals 4.25. I'm writing kilocalories here. When we say calories, we're actually referring to what's called a kilocalorie. And 1 gram of carb equals 3.5 kilocalories. So if you have 1 gram of fat and 1 gram of carb, your calories are purely from the fat. That'd be a good example would be peanut butter. I've heard people say, well, I'm eating peanut butter for the protein. You're eating peanut butter for the fat, okay? So what foods can we eat to make us lose weight? Well, the USDA food pyramid was established decades ago. I have a little copy of it here. And USDA food pyramid, which is no longer endorsed by the government, actually the president had food industry representatives and lobbyists come in and give them advice on how to change the food pyramid into more of a plate. But it would say that you should have 6 to 11 servings of pasta, bread, and cereal, okay? And 3 to 5 servings of vegetables. This is absolute, utter nonsense, okay? It tells you there's way more lobbyists for the grain and cereal industry than there is for the vegetable industry. And I think you have to realize the fact that we're following the food pyramid, we use it in our schools, and we're getting fat, and we're getting unhealthy. Okay, we're becoming a more unhealthy society, and following the food pyramid and eating all these grains is nonsense. You don't need the grains. They have a very low nutritional density. So I'm going to introduce you to a concept called Aggregate Nutritional Density Index. This is Dr. Furman, who's a renowned nutritional expert. Places like Whole Foods and stuff use this index. And it tells us which foods have the highest nutritional density. As you can probably guess, I picked the ones with the highest density, the collard greens, the kale, the things like bok choy, broccoli, spinach all have a very high nutritional index. So foods with high nutritional index would be like kale, collards, bok choy, spinach, broccoli, cabbage, Brussels sprouts, etc. And foods with low nutritional index or almost no nutrition at all would be like milk, eggs, chicken, okay? Obviously things like Coke and ice cream would fall into the no nutrition. And if we start focusing on eating a diet that is packed with nutrition, your appetite falls. Okay, because there's things called phytonutrients. They're basically nutrients found in plants that we need. We need like carotenes and lycopene in our body. These are phytonutrients that we need. And once we get them, our nutrition requirements fall down. I'm just going to give you an example. If you ate the equivalent amount of spinach in calories to the beef in one day, you would have 5,992% of the USDA requirements for vitamin A and 1,500% the need of vitamin C. So we'd have 50 times more vitamin A and 15 times more vitamin C than our minimum requirement. And when you get all these vitamin A and vitamin C and carotenoids and lycopenes, your hunger drops because you've got it. Okay? Eat a bunch of chicken or beef, it's got zero. It's got zero vitamin A and vitamin C. Okay? And those aren't the only phytonutrients, but that's just a good example. They don't really have any nutritional value. There's a few vitamins that we find in meats, such as CoQ10 and B12, but mostly we find them in vegetables. Okay? So if you eat a high vegetable-based diet, your hunger will drop, your nutrition will improve, your skin will look better, you'll lose weight, you become a normal weight, you don't become all malnourished eating vegetables, you become a normal weight, and you'll be healthier. You'll have less risk of cancer and less risk of other chronic diseases. What I'm recommending is that you go for a very high nutritional valued meal, okay? And the easy way to do it is to kind of grind it up. Now we found that if you, say, eat the spinach, especially if you eat it raw, you don't generally chew it enough to break the nutrients free. So either we should cook certain vegetables or blend them in a blender or chew them for a long time. Most people are going to chew them for a long time. So eating a big salad, you don't get quite as much nutrition as you do blending it up. At our office here, I went around the office and pulled our devices out. I have a little green drink, I have 3 of them a day. Vitamix is my favorite. Again, I got it at Costco. I won it here, one at my house. The NutriBullet, this is somebody else's in our office. And then the Ninja, which my staff has in their lunchroom. The Ninja is less expensive and rated better by Consumer Reports, but it's still like the Vitamix. So you can be pretty robust. And you blend it up, put some water in it, and you'll get your nutritional density, and you actually drop your hunger. So if you eat a bowl of cereal in the morning, cereal has no nutritional value. Okay, even though the USDA food pyramid says you should eat like 11 servings of cereal a day, which is nuts. There's no nutrition in it. They fortify the cereal with certain vitamins that give you 100% or 50% of your USDA requirements, but I showed you that spinach would have like 5,000 times as much, okay? So have the vegetables, drink in the morning, maybe one at lunch, and then imagine instead of having a big plate of meat in a small serving of vegetables, have big servings of vegetables and small servings of meat. So I'm not saying avoid meats altogether. I'm saying you don't need nearly as much as you think you do. You certainly don't need any milk, okay? The people that need milk are people that are growing. Imagine a baby being born, needs to grow. They need the calorie density and the nutrition density, the calorie density of milk to grow and get big. And when we get to be adults, we should probably think about stopping growing because milk does increase our metabolism, increases our aging, okay? The meats. What are good meats and bad meats? Well, I gave examples of maybe not the best meats. Chicken with the skin on it has more fat than chicken without the skin. Ground beef has more fat than, say, lean beef. But how can we take it a little further? Well, imagine that when you're a farmer, you have a couple of choices. You let the chickens eat the foods they naturally eat, which would be bugs and grass and things in the pasture. Or you can put a bunch of chickens in a little coop and feed them corn or grain. You feed them corn or grain, it's cheaper. And they're very energy dense, and the chicken will grow fast, and they give them antibiotics and other minerals to make them so they don't die or they're healthy. But then that's coming to us as an unhealthy chicken. It's basically like a diabetic chicken. Same thing with the cows. You know, they were really designed to eat grass, and we're feeding them grains, okay? Well, there's options to get what's called grass-fed beef. Now, a cow that's fed beef through its life and what they call finished with grass. When you buy grass-fed meat, you want to know what it was finished with, because a lot of times they'll say it's grass-fed, but the last 3 months they give it a bunch of corn to turn it into a diabetic to fatten it up so it tastes like regular beef. Okay? But if you get a grass-fed and grass-finished beef, you actually have less fat than some chickens. Okay? If you eat a grass-fed beef that's finished with grass, it actually has less inflammation properties than Atlantic salmon. So it's actually healthier than Atlantic salmon. Eating wild-caught fish is going to be healthier than farm-fresh fish because wild-caught fish is eating the different nutrients they need to survive. Salmon would be one of your better fish because it has no mercury in it. Okay, it's very safe from that standpoint, so you could really eat it every day or a couple times a week. Where some of the fish like swordfish and tuna, not recommend you eat much of that, a lot of mercury in them. These are predator fish. And farm-raised fish, you can eat those better than eating, say, beef that's grain-fed. But maybe your fish, you should start steering towards fish that's wild-caught, beef that's grass-fed. If you're using cheese or butter, they've got grass-fed cows making cheese. There's a brand called Kerrygold's, and they carry it at our Myers next door, and it's grass-fed cheese and grass-fed beef, and grass-fed cheese, grass-fed beef that makes cheese and butter, and that's healthier for you than eating, say, margarine, which is completely processed, or eating regular butter and cheese. So I want to leave it at this. Don't listen to this concept that you need eat all this protein. When we're talking about a low-carb diet, really what we're referring to is a diet that does not have fast carbohydrates. A fast carbohydrate would be your grains. They turn into sugar very quickly. Your fruits. Fruits should be part of your diet, but if you're trying to lose weight, minimize them and maybe stay away from the tropical fruits and eat more, say, northern fruits. Okay? Anything that you drink has a potential for a rapid release of calories. Alcohol actually has higher calorie per gram than carb or protein, just a little less than fat, it's actually 7 grams. So alcohol, moderation, okay? And then we should be eating less meat. I'm not saying you don't eat any meat, but eat less meat. Don't make that a big part of your diet. Again, we talked about when you're making your plate, you got a piece of meat, and then you have maybe half your plate is vegetables. Well, in this case, 90% of your calories are coming from the meat because it's so calorie rich. Again, we talked about the 70 or whatever serving of spinach versus a piece of meat. So imagine that your meat is like a garnish or a side dish, and you're eating mostly vegetables. Eat the vegetables with the highest Andy score. Dr. Furman has the Andy score. It's very helpful when you're grocery shopping. You take it with you and try to pick the ones with high Andy score. And the ones with low Andy score, make those foods that you're not eating very much. And this way you'll be healthier, your skin will look better, your heart will be healthier, your brain will be healthier, you'll have less cancer, and you maintain a normal weight. So that is Nutrition 101. Thank you.